To do a
Okay.
So able to record.
Yes, so now they give me access, so they say continue.
I also press the recording too.
Maybe it is.
So I'm sure they want me to record whilst you also you be allowed to record or something like that. Okay,
My
so
colleague will be meeting.
we can continue now.
Okay.
You can still see the screen.
Yeah, I can see the screen.
Okay, so like I was telling you, MySQL and SQL are not the same. MySQL is the database name, and SQL is the language, the database language.
Okay.
The language that is responsible for manipulating the database, for maintaining the database, updating the database, modifying the database. The language that interact, in simple terms, the language that interact with the database is the SQL, structured query language. And the MySQL is the database name.
Okay.
Just like any other database like Microsoft Access and Oracle and what have you, that's something like that. So the MySQL is a database name and SQL is a language name. Okay, so we interact with the database using SQL. So we are going to do MySQL, but we're going to interact with it using SQL as our language. Now, the first syntax I want us to explore is how to show databases in our database. So you type show databases. Have you seen that? Then you see that it has listed all the databases. Information schema, Alafia. So these are the databases in my server.
Okay.
Have you seen that?
Yeah.
Now, if I want to interact with any of them, I have to select that particular one. So you see that I have 27 databases in my server. And I want to interact with one. I must select that one before I can use it. I can't just start interacting with any database at all without selecting it. So how to select a database? You use a keyword called use what? Maybe school. And terminate, use school. So database change. So I've now switched to use the school database, and you can see it here. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Okay. So now I want to also know inside the school database, the database is a collection of tables. You agree with me? Database is a collection of tables. You agree that?
Yeah.
So we want to know what are the tables that are inside. So show what? Tables. So you see that it's very cheap and simple, like English. You see that we have seen the tables that are inside my database. The school database, tables in school. We have academic rec, and what have you. You seen that? I've seen that.
Yeah.
Okay, so, and I know you are familiar with most of these things because of SQLite. So let's say we want to check, we have a table called students. So let's say we want to see the records that are in students. So we can say select, we can say describe what? Describe students. So when you are not learning console, you are likely not to see some of these commands if you are not doing console. I don't know, you are getting it.
Yeah.
So if we are learning the language direct with the SQL, we are likely not to use some of these commands. So describe what? Students. So I want to see what is in the student table. What are the things on the student table? So these are the number of fields I have in the student table. About 44 fields I have in the student table. And you know what a field is? The columns, headings, right?
Yeah.
So the field followed by the data type, I have followed by a null status, followed by a key, whether it's what? A primary key or a special key. And the extra are other properties added to it. And the ID is an auto increment. I know you are familiar with that one too as well, auto increment.
Auto increment.
Yes.
Yeah, like it to be adding
1, 2, that order.
One. Yes. Yeah.
So this is the structure of the students table. If I want to see what is there. Now, let's say that I want to see the data inside the student table. I'll do what? Select what? Star from students.
Yeah.
select star from students, and it will list all the students in the students table for me. You can see the screen, right?
Yeah.
Okay, but this is a bad query. So I'm sure when you are also learning, you will learn not to do the mistakes. So you can imagine how it had to run all this that we didn't need. Is that okay? So what do I need to do? I need to select what we wanted. Maybe select what? First name, right? The first name. I have
Okay.
it. I have something called middle name, and I have something called what? Last name for the surname from students. Let me add contact. Okay. So I think this looks better, right? And did you realize that it has finished? It finished faster than the first one.
Yeah.
Did you realize that?
Yeah.
Okay. So now let's do another thing. I've taken the columns. I'm leaving with only 2 columns. So this one uses. It says 0 seconds. How was that possible? Okay. So did you see that? So you can imagine if you are not careful and you just go to learn. Now you are supposed to select students' IDs from a table, and you have gone to do select all from students where this is that. Meanwhile, you just don't need the entire structure of your database or your table. You needed only students. So these are the mistakes programmers we do. Then we burden the system with a whole lot of load. And when you have up to some few records, you tend to say that the system is slow because I have many records. Meanwhile, you don't even have up to 1 million records yet. And SQL can take like one table can take 4 gig data, and that is about 50 something, I don't know, something million or billion records that each table can take. The default one.
Okay.
Okay, so I am sure you are used to all. Are you used to all of these things we have done?
So yeah, like what you have done.
Okay.
Selecting from
Selecting the columns you want.
Yeah.
Okay. Now let's start work. We're going to create our own table from console, insert data into the table from console, modify the data from console, and delete records from console. So we want to create a database. So the keyword is what? The create database, followed by the name of the database called test1, and terminate. Now we want to create table. So we want to create table, but we must select the particular database, even though we have created it, but we need to select it. So use what? Test1. Have you seen that? Database change. So we can now create our tables. So the first thing we need to do is to create the database, which I think you can do that, right? Create database followed by the database name. Isn't that simple?
Yeah.
So create table, that's the next thing. Create table, and the table followed by the table name. So we'll give what? TV1. That's the name of the table.
So
Now,
please, I'm coming on.
okay.
Before after I have created the table, before you create anything in the table, you have to use the table.
The use no. You have to use the database rather, not the table.
I said you have to use the database. Okay.
Yeah, you have to use the database.
Okay, so that's fine.
Yes, because there will be
Okay.
it assumes that there will be several databases, so you have to specify the one you want to use. No, you specify the one you want to use.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah, I'm okay.
Okay. So now we have created a table. We have created a database. The next thing is creating a table. And the creating the table, we have the query language the keyword as create table.
Okay.
Create table, followed by the name of the table. And I'm saying that we do it TB1.
Okay.
Now, the name of the table, create table, followed by the name of the table, followed by the fields. So we're going to have name. So the first one we have what ID.
ID.
Okay. Then the data type is what int, and it should have 11 length of characters.
Okay.
Are we together?
Yeah.
Then it should be what? Auto increment.
Okay.
Like this. So that is the properties of the ID we have defined before we move to the next field. So what we have done is for only the ID.
Yeah.
Okay. Name of the person.
Please, I'm coming on.
Okay.
The recording we are doing, will it show the screen?
Will it show in the screen?
Yeah.
It should show.
And where will it save it?
I think when you finish and stop, maybe it'll just show you the temporary folder where you see.
Okay.
Maybe when you stop the recording.
Okay.
Okay, so should we continue?
Yes.
Okay, so we have the followed by the next field or column name varchar, and we want let's say you are 32 characters. So this is the data type, right?
Yeah.
And followed by the length of characters.
Yeah.
Okay. This one was int, this one is varchar, then followed by maybe age. So we can also give it as int, and we'll give it 4 characters. So something like this.
Okay.
Comma. In the database, you know that one of them at least must be a primary key, one of the fields.
Yeah.
In this case, which one do we choose as our primary key?
The ID.
The ID.
Yeah.
Then we close the main bracket. This bracket is closing the starting one here. So this is a sample table that we have just created.
Okay.
And we press terminate and press enter. And that worked for us. Query OK. 0 rows affected. We have not yet inserted rows yet. We have just created a table. So on this, we created a database test1. We selected it to use it by using the keyword use test1. Then we have created a table named TB1 and the properties of it. Okay, so can we move on?
Yeah.
Now the next thing is that we have used the first C. We have used your C, the create.
Yes.
Now,
Please, so I want to ask a question.
okay.
Why didn't we just add the primary key? Just made it a primary key from the ID, like ID and then primary key.
Okay, that is not a problem.
Okay.
That is not a problem. It's just the structure of the programmer.
Okay.
Okay, but what happens is that sometimes you have a list of them and you have not decided that which one should we use. As I was teaching you, I don't know if you remember, I asked which one should we use, and obviously you said the ID. So you could have also mentioned that we should use the name. So the structure of this could come later. You could do all this and the primary key will follow later. By specifying which one to be your primary key. You can even alter later and change the primary key to a different column or field.
Okay.
So that's why I wanted it to stand alone for you to feel that you can always find a way of placing it and altering it, picking anyone you want to use.
Okay.
I didn't want to print in your mind as if auto increment ID must always be the primary key. I didn't want to print that in your mind.
Okay.
Okay, so can we continue?
Yeah, let's continue.
Okay, so we have done the creating of the records by creating a database and creating a table. Now, the next one is R, and R stands for what? in the crude. Do you remember the R?
Add.
R for the crude.
Remove.
Or okay.
The crude we have create, update, delete, add,
And add.
or
Okay.
create.
I don't know, but I'm sure we are rather going to recording now how to retrieve a record or something like that, or to read or record a record.
Record.
Yes, I don't know whether I can put this here. I'm coming now.
Okay. Okay, so the thing
Okay,
is
so
actually create. Yes, create, read, update, and delete.
Okay, so read or record. That's what I say. Or retrieve.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, so that is normal. Don't worry about what just happened.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, so we're on the table, right?
Yeah.
And that table, what was the name of that table, sir?
We created a table.
Okay, it's called TB1. So describe what? TB1. Have you seen? Describe TB1. So we now want to see our TB1 we created. How is the structure like? So we said we should describe it. And it's saying that we have three fields. So first one is ID with this and that and that. I don't know if you can see the properties.
Yeah, I've
Okay.
seen it.
Okay. Now we need to what? Now pass data, create records. We need to create records. And how do we do that? We use the insert, am I right? So insert into what? The name of the table, TB1, followed by the fields. And at this time, will we add the ID? No, because it's auto increment.
No.
So, so something like this. Then this. Okay. So for that is how you insert the data. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
Insert into followed by this and that and that and that and the values. So in PHP, in your form, this would have been the what? $name, $age, if they were variables.
Yeah.
Okay.
This would have been the field names.
This would have been
the
the field
variables
name,
attached.
and the values
Okay,
would have been here with the variables that you have processed from the form.
Yeah.
Okay. We can continue.
Yeah.
So let's insert another one. So we insert another one by the name for, and we go that. So now I guess we have, let's add another person. Okay. So we have inserted records. So how do we see the records we have inserted? By what? Selecting them. So select all from what? TB1. And there we are.
Okay. Okay.
So in SQL, where have you learned up to the where clause?
Where?
Using the where clause.
Cross?
Yes, clause.
No.
Okay. So now,
do you know what happened?
Okay.
The SQL in the mobile one is different from
what we're doing.
Slightly different from what we are doing.
So exactly, it's slightly different. And the reason is that because you didn't do the console, but it's the same.
Okay.
when you go back to the PhD, you get what I'm saying. It's the same. When you go to PhD, you're not going to be writing exactly as I'm writing.
Yeah.
But here we're just dealing with the database direct. So we're learning database without any programming language.
Okay.
But in that you were learning that how to connect that with SQL or SQLite.
Okay.
Okay. So let's continue. Is there anything new that has been introduced here so far?
No.
Okay. So now we have selected all, and you can also select individual field names, right? Let's say we didn't want to select all, we could have selected what? Name from TV1, right? And we get only the names in that order. If you wanted all IDs, you could get that. If you wanted only ages, you could get that by selecting that. So you can always specify the columns that you want, not necessarily using all the columns or the fields.
Okay.
Now, assuming that we want only one record, what will we do? Select all
Only
from,
one record.
yes.
Like you index it.
Okay, I don't know how do you index your own? So this is the function for it. Select all from what? TV1, limit what? 1.
Okay.
Or limit what? 3.
Okay.
Or limit 4. So what will happen? So let's see what's going to happen. Limit 4, we have 3 because we have only 3 records, right? Is that okay?
Yeah.
Now, assuming that you are limiting to 1. Now, by default, you realize that the first name in order came from the top, right?
Yeah.
Now, what about if you want the down one to come first? All these things I'm talking about, you'll be needing them in your development process. These petty things, you will need them in PHP or any platform that you are developing with to come up with an interactive database. So you want the last one from the database, the last one.
So that's why we use the index.
Okay. So give me an example of the how you do that. Select all from TV1
The bracket, you use square bracket, then you put the value of the index between them.
So just read what you want me to.
So the last one is 2. Index 2.
So hold on. So should I use select
Select from select dash the star from
Okay.
from table
TV1.
on okay, so let's put the bracket, the square bracket,
Okay,
the
TV1.
the index number between.
Okay,
Let's
so
put 2 is the last one, Kelvin. Then
okay,
we close the
so should I
then
continue?
end it with the semicolon.
Okay.
Let's see. You have error in your SQL syntax. Okay.
Do you have an alternative
Alternative.
for this? Okay. So what you do is that select all from TB1, order by what? ID. In ascending order, ASC. Ascending order will be from where? DSC.
Ascending is from down to top.
So DSC will be what? From top to down, right?
Descending,
From top to down.
descending will be from
So it will start from the greatest number, the greatest ID, right? Which is 3. Limit what? 1, right? You see that Kevin is there.
selecting from the table
Okay.
order by ID. Select descending order.
Yes.
Limit by 1. Okay, so it will start from the last one.
Exactly.
If it's limit by 2, it will go to the second person.
I always believe in. That's why I said we should put this. Have you seen that? It's also
Okay. Okay. So why is it like that?
so. Let's say you wanted the second but last. Second but last. Is that what you're looking for?
Yeah.
You're looking for generally second but last, or you want the middle?
No, like
Second but last.
second but last. Yeah.
Okay, so the query was what? Limit what? 1. So in this case, you would have had to introduce an algorithm there, which this is not a programming language. Is that okay?
Okay.
You would have had to introduce an algorithm for this. So what will you have done? You would have counted, you would have gotten the last ID of this. So limit 1. So you have so look at this ID, right? It's what 3. Is that okay?
Yeah.
So you have retrieved this in your programming language -1. Is that okay? -1. This is not going to work. I'm just putting it. This is not going to work. So we're having 3 minus what? 1, and you have had 2. So your second query would have now been select all from where ID is. So don't worry, we'll come to that. We'll come to that. Let me not jump. We'll come to that. So you can know that and see whether maybe it will answer at the end of the tutorial. Is that okay?
Okay.
So that is how you do your ordering. Now the order is not used for only that. The order is not used for only that. We were using the limit function here, and sometimes you can even do this from 1 to 2. I don't know if this works, but this should work. Have you seen? You can sometimes have this. If this works, okay. No, it still give us the same thing. But you.
But I've changed the positioning.
Is that?
That's changed the ID positioning.
The positioning, the other one has gone up. Exactly. So let's use a range of values within our limit, which is 3. 2. Okay, so let me just follow the lesson. Let me not jump. So select all from table, order by ID. So in ordering, you know what the order is. It will order either in ascending order or descending order. So you can equally order by name. Order by what? Name. Sorry. Order by, the by didn't come. Order by what? Order by name. Have you seen?
Okay.
So you can order by the name or order by what? The age, right? So you see the default ordering. The default ordering is ascending. I don't know if you have observed.
Yeah, like
For an age.
the younger one came first.
Yes. I mean for the ages.
Yeah, for the
smallest age came first.
Yeah.
For the name is in alphabetical order. So
Yeah.
in the numbering system, let's say if you want to order by age, you can add what? The descending or ascending. So descending DSC and ascending ASC.
Mhm.
Can we continue? So the ordering is what we are looking at now. How to order the
Okay.
records in the table.
Okay.
So select all from table, order by age. It will give you the default ordering. So let's do this funny thing. Name, order by what? ASC. So what do you expect? Well, what do you
The
expect?
length. It to consider the length.
The length.
So ascending means the longest will come first.
Mm-hmm. I disagree.
No, ascending means that the smallest will come first. Then so
I
Paul will
disagree.
come first.
I still disagree. But computer don't lie. I'll be well with the computer. So let's go. Okay. So as we do what? AS what? The ascending order is what? AS what?
ASC.
So
So ascending
oh sorry.
means
Sorry. Oh, and you didn't tell me. I know
uh-huh. So,
so the two are you seeing the
so
difference?
descending means it will start from top to down.
Okay. So ascending took from where? The order of alphabets,
Mhm.
right? The
Okay.
order of alphabets. It took from the
Oh,
and the order of alphabets again, but this time from what?
okay.
The reverse.
Yeah.
So
Wait. So descending means descending should have been
so it's not the
the
length
order.
of
Yeah,
characters.
yeah, yeah. I've seen it.
Okay. It's the ordinal alphabetical order, but it will
Yeah.
order them interchangeably. So
But when you are sent, okay. Can you okay you can't. The question I had wanted
well, you can ask
to
because
ask.
we're programming. Some of the things we can
uh,
experiment them practically without necessarily having to Google
Okay,
or find
so
out.
my question was that I wanted to ask if we can ascend the name and descend the age. But I've seen that because it picks the same data, the
Okay.
same column, they're in the same
Okay.
column,
So
like
Paul, don't worry. Ask any crazy thing you think of. If we're not there, we can note it.
mhm.
If there's no answer, we can look at it later.
So
Is that
so let's
okay?
know. They will order by name at the same time descending. Okay, so we order by name descending, and
Okay,
then
after add descending, you want me to
yeah,
add
the name.
descending? Okay. I want you to observe a pattern and we'll draw a conclusion from it together. So I ordered by name and age and descending. Is that okay?
So from descending means from top to down,
Yes.
and ascending descending also means from
So you see that the
down.
names are ordered. Let's go on.
So right now, this one there it works well
Okay.
because both the name and then the age are all descending.
Are all the same. So
But I want to the opposite, like
okay.
one ascending, one descending.
So let's do this and see how we get our the. So let's keep that question again and we'll proceed.
Okay.
So the ordering, let's assume that we are done with the ordering. Is that okay? Now let's move to another point of our route. And the
Okay.
next one will be update, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So update, that's the keyword, followed by the name of the table, TB1,
Yeah.
update table, set what? Age. equal to 16, where name is this. I have done something wrong. Can you tell the mistake I've done here in my query, the practices? I've violated something that will affect you as a programmer. Have you noticed it?
Update table set page. So okay, so here anybody can have that name.
Yeah, exactly. Good. I've
So
done this.
that
I'm
is,
getting set age is equal to 16. What's the problem here?
you didn't select exactly what you want. So
Okay.
it means that you can this one, it is supposed to add, right? Are you changing or you are adding?
I'm changing.
You are changing. You
Yes,
didn't select which key value you are changing on.
exactly. So therefore, it's a bad practice.
Yeah.
So if I now select all from what? TV1, I'm going to get all to be 1616 because I did not specify.
Yeah.
So in your programming, I beg, don't forget some of these things because they can have like 1,000 records, and because you forgot to specify what should be done, all the data, and you cannot reverse the database.
Okay.
So just this mistake for 1,000 records. So everyone in that school would have had the same age.
Mm,
So I better take note of this once you continue to develop. Just a reminder. It's something that you know already, but just a reminder. Okay. Now, assuming that we also want to select one record, the second one. So select all from what? TV1. Now we're going to introduce the clause, the where clause, where ID is equal to what? 2. So we have begun with the where clause. So in this case, are we not getting our second but last?
yeah.
But because we know the ID. So you can best get this without necessarily ordering, but by pointing to the particular ID that you want and getting the record that you want.
Mm,
The preceding ID for the 3 is 1, S2. So you can always get that. So we are using the where clause here. So you can also select where name is what? Where name is Kolo. So
you use ID, you use instead of name.
okay, so but that was a good example. So I mean, it has given us no value, right?
Mm,
Okay, so if we say where age is 16, it's not as good as saying that select all from without specifying anything because everyone is 16 years there or age 16. So Paul, can we continue?
yeah.
Okay, so update. We're now going to deal with the update. So to update a record, you say update the name, update the table, which is called TV1. Set is a keyword that follows next. Set what? We want to change the age. Set age equal to 24, where ID is what? 1. So here, I think this is not correct and best practices. So row match 1 and change 1, change is 1. So one row has been matched and one has been changed. So that is it for the update. So if we wanted to change the second one, we would have changed it to, oh, sorry.
After I've updated, how will you see the table?
Okay. You can see the changes. You can see the changes by selecting all again. Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah.
So we can do this.
Okay.
So here we can update row 2 as 32. And let's see what has happened. Okay. So that's how you do the updating. And you can update all of them at the same time. No, update. You can update multiple columns. You can update multiple what? Columns. Sorry, rule. Multiple rule, not columns. So I can change the age of this person and modify the name to what? Name is equal to. So set age is equal to 24, name is equal to this, where ID is 1. So you can modify a list of what? Columns or a rule. So I'm saying column in the sense that there's a column here.
Yeah.
There's a column here, but you can only affect one rule. This single statement will be very difficult to affect multiple rules unless otherwise this ID exists more than once.
Okay.
Or you give a condition, yeah. Or you give a condition that exists more than once. Let's say that I say ID is 1, where ID is 1, or ID is what? 2, or ID is 3. I could have written that in a continuous way and it will update all of them. But at the end of the day, it's going to update them with this value alone. It will not update them with unique values. If you don't understand, I could explain again. But if you understand, I can continue. Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Apo, can you hear me?
Yeah. Yeah, I can hear you now.
I'm saying that
My
if you
question is that
okay.
my question is if let's say we are creating a table that every day somebody is supposed to enter something or bring a report. So when the report comes, you allocate the report to my name.
Okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now all will be more than one in the table.
Okay. Is that all the question? Hello?